What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. There was a great post today. I'm actually on my way to go get the book physical copy because I tried to read as much as the PDF as my eyes could handle off Kindle, and I just couldn't. I have to get the book. My eyes hurt. Um, really great book called Average is Over. It's confirming everything I thought. Everything. So the book is called Average is Over, and I've been talking about it. I've been talking about the book Upside. I've been talking about the top 20%. Everybody's like, "Oh, Eric, Upside, are you talking about that stuff?" But it's really happening, and it's really true. Now, it basically talking about as the way we streamline, because if you really look at it, everything's so synced up with computers now. You used to be able to get away with stuff. Now, let me be careful. What do I mean get away with stuff? People used to let you slide or give you a chance. And a lot of times, like, I remember one time my sister cut up when we were younger. And my mom was like, yep, take her on down to jail. She want to act silly, take her on. And the police officer told her, this is years ago. He's like, ma'am, you don't want to get your daughter in the system. Because once they're in the system, it's like it just follows them. Now, back in the day, I think my mom was a very tough military person, wanted to just do the scared straight approach. Dad was like, well, she wants to act up. Yeah, scare her. But the police officer was like, you don't want to do that. And even back then, they knew once you start getting into these systems or like doing petty stuff or any kind of silly young person thing, it follows you. It really does. It follows you. How I look sleepy with my shades on. Get out of here. I'm about to block you. It follows you, and you cannot even, you can't start fresh. And the scary part about that is that's back then. Now with computers, you've got kids who can't go to college, they can't get degrees, they can't get different things. I remember there's 3 stories I've heard lately where young people had to change their name. And I remember this news article said that people are going to have to start changing their name more. And I thought, well, that's silly. What's that about? And he was saying people are going to commit crimes when they're young or do things when they're young, and it's going to follow them so long they won't be able to get a second chance. Now, prime example, the first one was a guy was 18. The girl he was in the car with was 17. They were making out. The police stop him. He jumps from the car. I don't know what he was thinking. They were parked off some side road. He jumps out of the car with no pants on and runs. And so the police, of course, tackle him. And, of course, the newspaper writes it up. Young man naked running from a car. To this day, this guy is close to my age. He's 31. And he literally had to go to court to get his name changed because every time somebody would Google him, because he was 18, that newspaper article would follow. He's even moved to a different state. That thing happened in Colorado. He's here in Texas. He said there were 2 or 3 people just said, hey, look, son, we Googled your name. That incident came up. Like, you would think to this day, something that happened when he was 18 years ago would go away. No. People are going to be Googling people. I find that there's going to be a lot of young ladies. I'm being careful here. A lot of young ladies here who maybe took, inappropriate pictures when they're younger or put something up in some kind of inappropriate way, that they're going to change their name or change their face through plastic surgery to literally live a new life. I really believe that's going to start happening more and more. It's just going to be very hard to get a job. Hey, how you doing? It's going to be very hard to get a job because people are going to start Googling you. And those online it's like a paper trail. MySpace, all that stuff. Good night, CJ. It's really, I'm not surprised by it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not. But I knew it was coming. And this just confirms it. So, you guys, if you're in here, drop your city and state. That helps us plan out events for the rest of the year. It just helps us organize things. What's up from Seattle? How you doing? So the book, here's some highlights of the book, and I'll go over them. Fewer second chances. Why? Because, and this is very vital. I think this hits the Black and Hispanic community higher than white or Asian. And hear me out first. Hear me out. It's going to reward people who are disciplined early. And that's a big part of the book. Now, why is that? Kids who do silly stuff from 16 to 25, man, that thing is going to follow you. 1, because the digital blueprint, just following you around. 2 is I can see that. Now that I'm in my 30s, I see if you don't kind of get on the track early, it really affects you, right? Because 90% of the time people marry and date within their circle. Now many people try to convince you, no, everybody, no. 90% of the time doctors marry doctors, lawyers marry lawyers, or people within that realm, or in the hospital. Nurses marry doctors, policemen marry firemen, even though they're very against each other. Police marry the police. So who you associate with in a younger years, I've heard plenty of stories from military people who like, oh, I married her because I met her in the military and I should have never, married her, right? Just crazy stories, because it talks about people who make certain decisions early on, it's going to follow them. And I can see it now. I can see as people are in their 30s, they're either having to like backpedal or go back and fix bad decisions they made in their 20s. They're having to like change jobs. They're having to do so much hard work because the first 10 years were way crazy. Now, can you still have a good life? For sure. But when this book said fewer second chances, I completely understand what it said, because I've talked to people who are in their 40s and 50s going for job interviews, and people are like, well, what made you do this? Why are you switching to this? It doesn't matter why they're switching. Hire them. Give them a chance. Is my thinking. Excuse me. I apologize. That was rude. There's 71 people in here and only 13 likes. Let's get those likes up, people. Lena 808 said, it's hard to change or adapt bad habits after 25. Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of young black men, young Hispanic men who are going to a lot of community college doing like intro computer work. Now, many people say, well, Ericka, that's silly. Lots of young people know how to use computers. Yeah, they may have to use the computer, but do they know how to write Word documents? Do they know how to use Excel? Do they know how to do things that a job would need? Do they know how to navigate a computer? Not just poorly type and send out pictures, whatever. I'm going to keep it up to here. I was going to go somewhere and I said, let me stop. They have to actually use the computer that makes sense. And thank you, Andre Hatcher, for the $5 super chat. So in the book, it talked about people who get on the track early. And in speaking to those people I know, there's a lot of Asian and, Indian folks who are taking these sabbaticals. Like they're 30 to 32 and they're taking 6 months off work. And they can completely afford to do it. If you didn't start early, if you weren't an engineer early, if you weren't in IT early, you're not going to be able to do that. That's why you see such a craze on Instagram where there is, and I'm going to be careful here, there is a lot of really pretty girls traveling and people are like, how is she affording that? Of course, credit cards, right? And then there's a lot of techie nerds who are traveling and they can't afford it. It's just, they've been making $80,000, $100,000 for 10 years. They've already made $1 million in their career and they're 30 years old. And a lot of these companies let them take vacation breaks. I've just seen it. Thank you, David. He said, this is the best information. Thank you. Okay, so the next one is, instead of top 1%, you're going to start seeing the top 15%. Now, this follows everything I've been saying. You got an 80-20 factor, right? 20% of people, and people say to me all the time, Ericka, why are you doing a financial channel? Those don't really go viral. That doesn't make any sense. And I keep telling people, it doesn't matter if my videos go viral. If out of 1,000 views, 100 of y'all buy products and services and it helps y'all, I'm doing better than 90% of YouTubers. A lot of them are depending on affiliates and getting crazy views and doing crazy things. And I've talked to them. They're not excited about that anymore because they have to keep doing crazier stuff. So again, instead of the top 1%, it'll be top 15%. Why? Because that 20% of people we're always talking about, they will be the ones who start investing more, who start buying more. Like right now, I'm buying a house that I'm talking about. 12 of the people out of that group, half are buying properties for rentals because Apple's coming. The other 6 thinks it's crazy or can't afford it. And you know what that means? They will not... Like, I'm not being a B word, but if you don't do this before Apple gets here, in 2 years when other people are seeing it, they're going to start buying up. Yeah. They're going to start buying up everything, and you'll be priced out of the market. So, where's Apple? Apple's coming on Palmer Road. It's going to be, the crossroads is Dallas and Palmer. Is where it'll let out. The traffic will let out. But what's crazy is everybody I know that's over there is trying to get from over there, but they want to rent their house out in 2 years because they know, let's be honest, wherever you see a lot of IT companies, a lot of Indian and foreign workers, they want to be where they can just walk to work. And that neighborhood is the only neighborhood where they will be able to, at that light, walk out of Apple and walk across the street. I see it every day. I see people riding their bike and trying to be extra healthy in the summer, but that's the only neighborhood you can do it in. And that neighborhood is crazy. Yes, Gigi Brown, I'm talking about Austin, Texas. Okay, so again, what are those people doing? They're putting themselves in the top 20%. Because everything the book is saying, I'm going to go get the hard copy in a little bit, you guys. It truly is like, it'll thin, the middle class will thin out because the upper, you'll either move up or you will move down. Now, there was something it said uniquely in the book about people are going to have a new definition of happiness. And I think the prime example of what you're already seeing a lot of this take place. This is a, he's saying this for the future 10 to 15 years, but I'm saying this is happening right now. He's even saying it might happen in 5 years. I think it's happening right now, because this part he said in the book about new definition of happiness, right? What he's really saying is you will be poor and you have to lower you have to make a new definition of happiness. And there was a book that came out, and I'm trying to remember it, and I hate that I forgot. Oh, that sucks. But it talks about moving out of the city. It talks about moving into smaller towns and like making your name there. I have several friends who've moved into smaller towns, and now they're trying to buy up some of the old historic properties there to kind of make Airbnbs or make it worth it. Make living in that smaller town worth it. The thing about it is, if you do move to the smaller town, what's the number one and number two thing you need to have? You need to have internet access. You need to have, a job that you can, a job that doesn't require you to be there, honestly, because then, you're doing the commuter thing 3, 4, 5 hours. And there's multiple shows and reports on NPR where people are driving 4 hours to work in California, like 2 hours there and 2 hours back. That's crazy to me. I would literally just be like, can I work remotely? See, this is why you see the big push to the cities, because all these people that live out in the suburbs and the wife wants to go home and not work, man, when the wife wants to go home and not work, the stress is on, right? The stress is on. And I'm gonna say this, it's not in the book, but I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be careful. Jimmy Cave said something about I'm on the right track as a single man. Yeah, and a lot of comments in a lot of my videos, some of my younger videos are like, oh, men can do better on their own, living alone than women. And I don't believe that's true. The data is not there for that. The reason I'm saying the data is not there is the outrageous number of suicides that are going on with men the past 3 years. Like, the numbers of men suicides have gone through the roof. And it's a lot of them are divorced men, a lot of them are single men. And it's like, I'm sorry, you can't convince me that society is better if you're alone. We are communal people, and we're meant to be in community. And I think the reason I'm backing that theory up more with several books, but also with this whole dorm living. I think Lyndon touched on it, but I saw an article about like people living in these dorms, and I said it was gross. And people were like, oh, Ericka, you're being dramatic. And I'm like, if you're over 25 living in dorms, even military people, they have a system now where they're like just two. It's like a room with two. It's like, and you're not even sharing the room. Like the barracks where my cousin is like one guy here. There's a room here. In the hallway, there's a shared bathroom just between the two of them. And if either one complains that the other dude is dirty, they both can get in trouble. So, and that's Army. That's not even Air Force. That's Army. So they're in this kind of adult situation where they share a bathroom, but they have individual rooms. And even they are stressed. Like, he's so stressed. I don't know why. Because you can lock the door when you go in. When he uses the bathroom, he's trying to be extra quiet. Or when he showers, he's like, he gets nervous because he's like, somebody's disconnected still. But the data just isn't there. And every military group, like when you come back and you go get your counseling, they try to put you in group sessions. A lot of women are doing women trips, women travel, women retreats, this whole separate living, it doesn't work. Okay. It doesn't work. And it's really serious. I live in Atlanta, and some suicide okay. Yeah. I mean, like, I think for 2 years ago, there was a really bad situation with, and I'm not trying to gross anybody out, but pornography stars killing themselves. So about 2 or 3 years ago, they had about 15 gay male actors, God, I don't want to say this, but you know what I'm saying, actors killed themselves. And they left these dramatic Twitter posts and dramatic blogs, and they killed themselves. And one dude retired. He was going to kill himself, and he said, there's nothing to this life. Like, it was something like, he's like, it's just all this materialism makes me sad, and I wish I never started any of this stuff in this movie business. And I think three or 10 women killed themselves. But at the time it was like crazy, because they were like, the industry was like, that's not our problem. We don't know why they're doing that. Well, for one, they're doing that because they're kind of ostracized in society, and it's very hard for them to start over, because the way the world is, I just be honest, the way the world is, the way people have facial recognition software, you're going to know who that person is even if they try to start their life over. The prime example of second chances is, remember Tool, the Tim Ferriss, the Tim guy, the Tool guy show. It's also, right now he's on the show called Last Man Standing. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? I'm trying to think. Tim Allen is his name. I think that is, yeah, Tim Allen. He sold drugs. You can go Google his mugshot. He sold heavy drugs. He had like a car full of drugs. This was the 70s, and then he was able to start over years later and be an actor and be on like not one but two but four different TV shows that are hit TV shows. And honestly, back in the day, you had, a 7-year, crime sentence, maybe 7 years max. There's people who've murdered people, got 3 years in jail in the 1960s and 70s and got right back out. It wasn't till the 80s and 90s and the Reagan years that we started doing these mandatory minimums, these really long sentences, where people never get out. And then if they do get out, they've been, institutionalized because they've been there so long. So I think this book is perfect. It's called Average is Over. It's 120 people here now in the chat. It's 42 likes. Thank you guys so much. But the book is called Average is Over. And here's the main points out of it is: fewer second chances, reward people who are disciplined early. That means no mess ups from 18 to 25. Also, you have, instead of the top 1%, top 15%. Then you'll have more of a meritocracy, right? Like, if you're smart with the computer, if you're smart with YouTube, wherever it is you're smart at, you'll be rewarded, right? And this is what I mean. If you can figure out systems, I've been talking about it for like 3 weeks now, but if you can figure out systems, there are people coming on YouTube who are just following a system. Yes, the book is called Average is Over. They're following systems and their channels are taking off. They're following, certain algorithms and their channels are taking off. And they're just following a blueprint, right? There's a guy, and say what you will, he is a little crazy, but his name is Victor Pride. That's not his real name, of course. His website is called Bold and Determined. And in 4 years, he went from zero to, like $1 million with ebooks and different things. But he was a big still a big blogger. But his whole blog is about being bold, per se, right? Like, if you think you're better, if you think you do all this stuff, go be serious, do it. Here's the steps to follow. And he's part of that, I'm just going to say, kind of pro male, kind of boo women kind of weird thing. I don't know why it's just weird. But in in this blog, he did a women, like, if you're a woman, what's bold and determined for women? He's like, if you're a good-looking woman, you want to go on social media, you need to do A, B, and C. You need to have a product sale. And it was very much a step-by-step way that I've seen a lot of people do. So if you can follow systems in this new, it doesn't mean you have to be a robot. It just means you can be you, but you need to be able to afford to be you. And what I'm seeing more than ever is, I see the lowering. I see where people are, I'm so stressed, the bills, the debt, everything costs so much, because they were coasting, right? So if you just kind of coast and don't really kick waves, like, the average American kind of just, gets fatter over the years, gets slower, gets more out of shape. This is kind of the coasting that is average in America. And usually those people are fine. They're fine. They live a little normal life, and they have a husband and wife and kids, and they live normal. But what's happening is the pushback from that. So what's the pushback from that? The pushback is your kid went to college, but then they didn't get a job they wanted. So now they live back home with you. The pushback on that is your grandma and your grandpa, which is their parents, don't have enough money for retirement, so now they got to come live with you. So now everybody's kind of living smashed up in these houses, and that wasn't the plan, right? But they were living average. So the point of me mentioning bold and determined is you got to get over that. You got to get over that. Like, well, I just want to go to work and come home and relax. There has to be some planning for better, because if you don't plan for it, no one else has a plan for you. And I think people are upset about 401ks and pension plans changing, but that was never meant for you. You were never entitled to a retirement via your company. You're supposed to be the steward over your money and let your money do for you. Now, you're going to say, Ericka, that was depressing. Thank you for depressing us for 20 minutes. Give us some positive. All right, here's this positive spin on that. The book is average is over. There's going to be fewer second chances. Certain people are going to reward it. How do you solve that? This is why I keep saying that Grant Cardone's going to be a billionaire, and so is Dave Ramsey. Here's what I'm thinking. If you know, just be honest, if you know you're average, or you got a cousin or uncle or somebody they just want to live an average life, what they're going to do is, in that kind of stream of a life, what they're going to do is they're just going to pay down their debt. They don't know what else to do, so that's what they're going to do. They don't want to change jobs. They don't want to change careers. And I've had some phone calls from you guys where your wife just won't get on board. And I hate to say it, there was a guy who said the best tactic he ever did was he tried to convince his wife for 3 months that he was going to lose his job. And he said once she kept saying it, his wife, her whole attitude changed. They started cutting up money. They started saving. They started, using coupons, all this stuff. Her whole behavior from consumption to like surviving kicked in. Now, did he lie? Yes. I'm not advertising for anybody to lie. It's a really funny blog. I like how later he told his wife, well, they said they were going to do cuts, but So, and so at that point, his wife kind of got with the flow. They paid off debt and everything. And then at the end of the year, he didn't lose his job. His wife was like, well, but I thought you were going to lose your job. So it's a funny blog, funny and sad that you're married to somebody and you're like, we need to save money, and they're just like doing whatever they want to do until you like scare them. So that, that's crazy, but it's a technique. Especially when you're saying, we're trying to go this way. Get on board. Nolan's 504 is as scary as what you described. Sounds much like our life. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you guys are trying to go a particular direction, and here's the thing, the reason people get so burnt out on the Dave Ramsey thing is the thought of lack. Like, oh, I have to cook at home every day. I can't go eat out with my friends. I can't, they act like they're dying. But debt, if you act like debt is a fire, I mean, I would just tell people, if you can't convince your spouse to like get on this whole Dave Ramsey kick, at least pay off the cars. But I've even seen people where they start to pay off the car and the spouse is like, I need a new car. You guys, that is over. That is over. Like, you got to keep that car for like 10 years. You got to run that bad boy down. It's not a sign of you doing well just because you have a new car every 2-3 years. And you guys think I'm joking. It is average. Every 3 years, Americans change cars. They just do. So if you want to get over over the hump of average, you're going to have to make a plan. So that's what I would encourage everybody to do. I wouldn't say even try to time it with a recession. Just put your next 12 to 15 months into something. Are you going to pay debt down, or are you going to build something? Period. That's just kind of where it's going to go. So let me see some of your guys' comments, and I'm going to roll out of here. I just had to share that, and then when I get the book, I'll take a picture and show it on this. These prank channels are getting out of control since they don't have a product or service sale. Exactly. They are, and they're getting arrested. There was one guy, Fitness Brandon, the black guy. He came here to Austin. He did something silly with this white guy, got arrested. The white guy's out of jail in 1 hour. His family came and got him. The black guy stayed in there for 4 days. And the black guy had more followers, more subscribers, all this other stuff. And it was like, you can't be doing this silly stuff if you got anything on your record, if you ain't got nobody to bail you out, if your money ain't flowing like that. I was advised to not buy a house with family or friends. Well, listen, if you don't want to buy it with family and friends, don't. Go make more money. Here's the thing. People don't want to hear this, but your only options are homeowners down payment assistance, go make more money, go pay off all your debt, or go further out to buy your house. There's a house that you can afford. You might not like it though. That's the real numbers, right? If you go get pre-approved today, they're going to tell you how much you can afford once you put your W-2s up in there. They're going to let you know. They're gonna let you know. And what most people are saying is, Ericka, I only got approved for a $180,000 house. I think I deserve a $300,000 house. But do you? Do you make the money to pay for that? That's really what we gotta like start being more honest with ourselves. Because self-assessment is the best thing anybody can do. You can tell me right now, Ericka, I want to start a business, but I know the best course of action is probably to pay off my student loans and pay off my car and then start something. Well, here's the thing, Jimmy K. Jimmy K basically said he bought books on credit to help improve. Jimmy K, this is the best I'm going to tell you. Best I'm going to tell you. People are trying to use credit to live, to supplement their life. And that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. And again, this is the same exact thing what I'm talking about. Reward people who are disciplined early. If you mess up your credit, yes, you can fix it. Yes, you can start anew, but if you start just from, like I have tons of videos on this. It's the same thing. You go get you 3 to 6 accounts, paying on them on time for 2 years. People don't like that answer, but that's the truth. We can do all these techniques and all these tactics to get the other stuff off, but at the end of the day, you have to show consistency where you're making your payments on time. Now, many people say, well, damn, Ericka, 2 years? I ain't trying to hear that. I know you're not. But your only other option is to go make more money, which sounds so boring, which sounds so lame, which sounds so simple, but it's true. That's just is what it is. Commuting for longer than 30 minutes is draining. I would agree. We are better together. We just need to learn to love ourselves first so that we can love others and create better lives. Yeah, and also people need to, like when he said learn a new level of what is a new definition of happiness, I believe him. Because what's happened is people think shopping is happiness, vacations is happiness. Really, happiness should be, I'm just hypothetical, cooking dinner at your house with your daughters and sons in the kitchen, and you ask them about their day and you have a good day. Right? That could be one. Backyard games. I've been over some people's house who didn't have cable. As a kid, I didn't realize they didn't have cable, but we would go over their house and play board games and had a blast. Never even thought about it. Never thought twice. Because that was their definition of happiness. So, and well, here's the thing. This whole scenario that everybody black comes from dysfunctional homes, I'm really sick of it. I'm really sick of the narrative because there's a lot of, let's be really honest, there's a lot of boring black people. There's a lot of regular, normal, mom and dad were there, or if mom and grandma and the family was just normal people working everyday life. But that's not exciting. We want to talk about the horror stories. We want to talk about projects. We want to talk about stuff that doesn't make any sense. There's a girl on Facebook, and she said, well, her mom lived on Section 8 when she was younger in the project. I said, well, why? Was she handicapped? Was something wrong with her? Was she disabled? Why was she there? Girl, I don't know. It was just a thing to do in the 80s. And I laughed, but that was her honesty there. A lot of people have very boring, regular lives. And this whole fantasy we created that everybody black is so magically dysfunctional is sad. It's sad because it's not true. It's sad that we built this lie up. It's just not true. It's just not true. So, thank you, Andre Hatchett. Dave Ramsey is teaching self-control and discipline. Well, you paying your debt off is teaching yourself self-control and discipline. That's the big one. If people are in massive credit card debt and car debt without income growth, there's a spending problem. That is true. Do I use the paid version of Dinner.com? I think I do. I'd have to check my phone. Talking about Brandon, that was crazy. It was crazy. Humphrey Jones. Austin of all places, we ain't got time for the shenanigans. If you saw the guy, I'm trying not to use too many names, I don't get blowback, but the white guy he was doing the show with, he had already been kicked off UT's campus 3 times, right? And all he was doing was like walking around taking his shirt off. And here's why it's funny. It was funny at the time because he was speaking to young white men who go to the gym and lift weights for their arms, but their legs look like little chicken legs. And he would take his shirt off and talk to girls on UT campus. What was the response in most of the videos? 80% of girls were like, okay, what are you doing? And then 20% would be like, oh, that's cool. You know, that's regular life. So what? You have muscles. What else, right? Like, the way women view men and the way men view women are very different. Men assume that, hey, if I get muscles and I walk around my shirt off, women will touch my chest. That's what he was doing, kind of inappropriate. He was basically trying to get girls to touch his chest or something. So he got kicked off campus. But then he kept doing it. He kept doing different types of pranks where he would wear clothes or do silly things. So by the time Brandon from New York came down to do a prank on a campus this guy has been repeatedly kicked off of, and it was like a fighting prank, you're in a college town. Downtown is college town parts. Parts of downtown East 6, hipster side of town, that's more older people. But where they were at on 6th Street, it's like 30 cops all over the street. Why would you do any kind of prank where you're pretending to fight or throw somebody on the ground? It's not funny. And so they went to jail. I don't feel bad for him. It said, I had my car for 5 years and 15 punts left to freedom. There you go. Why do people make debt cleanup more difficult than it has to be? I don't know. Mohammed, I think that's what your name is. I don't know. I really don't. People really try to, like, Ericka, you don't understand. Anything outside your mortgage, pay it off. That's the plan. Like, a lot of you call me and say, well, I need to make an extra $1,000 to $3,000 a month. I think that's important for you to try to build. I really do. But I think even more important, what's something, and people will always say credit cards, which is fine because they're listening to the higher interest argument. My argument is, what's the smallest thing you got? What's the smallest bill you got? Pay that off first and go up that way. When you start trying to do all this math about interest rates, you really don't make as big of a dent as you think you do. Because a lot of you don't have an extra $200 to $300 every pay period. Some pay periods you have extra, some you don't. So my ideal is a lot more people are going to pay off debt and realize they don't have a ton of money, right? Even if you have a recession come and a lot of people get laid off, a lot of the jobs you see some people's wives do, they only supplement the family maybe 10 to 20 grand, 10 to 40 grand a year. If she comes out of the workforce, you don't get any more new cars, you don't buy her a bunch of new outfits, you downsize, she cooks at home, a lot of families can make it. Emotionally it'll be tough, but a lot of families can make it. Instant gratification keeps us in debt. It's a mindset issue. Yeah. I just finished paying off my car, never get. Yeah, there's a reason why I would only pay cash for the next vehicle. I'm like, when the motorcycle, they were like, the motorcycle, if you pay cash, which they meant card or cash, you can save, $600. I was like, okay, I'll pay it in a lump. Self-assessment will set you free. What's the name of the Bold book? Oh, that's not a book. He has a lot of ebooks. His channel is called boldanddetermined.com. You can go check him out. A lot of men will like it better than women. Just brace yourself for what he's saying. I'm a person who I can observe tough rhetoric for men or women because I don't take it personal. And I know a lot of people, I'm like, whatever. That ain't applying to me. Good luck, Muhammad said, here's a goofy ass question. Rhetorical question. Is $80K a year for a single man, non-children having, late 20s man good enough to put down on a 6-bedroom home? Okay, what's the cost of the home? All that, what you said is cute and it's nice, but what's the cost of the home? Always do the math. 20% down or 3.5% down. There's even conventional programs where you can put 1% down if your credit's high enough. So see, they got these programs out here y'all don't even hear about because, everybody gets excited about FHA. And honestly, whenever somebody tells me they make 80, I go, what's the math? I would take away 20K in taxes. So now you're at 63,000 or 60,000 or 59-ish, So always do the math that way. How much is the house? Make more money is hard though. Is it though? Is it hard? What's hard about it? What's usually hard about when people make more money, when people go Uber and Lyfting and Door Dashing and working part-time jobs, they don't put the money in a separate account. Listen to me. Hear me out. When they don't put the money in a separate business account, that's why I always ask people if they do that. When you start putting every money that you make from Uber and Lyfting, and you see $2,000 over in a whole nother account, something out here is different. But when you put that little Uber money and that whatever money into the regular bank account, it's just gonna get sucked up because you got subscriptions going, you got all kind of stuff going. You have no type of tracking of what's coming out of your accounts. Most people don't even have calendars. So, you know, now there's two different things. Group economics is one thing. Socialism is another. This whole, the only way we can win is people give it to us. These are people who are broke and never travel. Because if you travel the world, black people in other countries, communist or socialism, are doing horrible. They're breaking their necks to get here. There's a reason Haitians and Nigerians and people from other countries look down on black people when they get there. They're like, yo, this is a gold mine. You can make so much money here. And they give us crap because they are coming from a country where it is hard. Where you have to bribe a person to open a business. You have to pay off police officers. You have to do things to get where you're trying to go, bribery-wise. And all you got to do here is go downtown and pay $200 and you got an LLC? What? You know what I mean? Like, for them, it's mind-blowing. So, yeah, have multiple streams. Stop with excuses, just do it. Thank you, Billie Jean. Fun fact, I came from a suburban latchkey environment. Yeah, very normal, very calm. I did Dave Ramsey. It was hard, but you grow a pair of balls. You have to tell so many people no, and I'm talking about the same conversation. Taking some of these conversations get deep. Tears. Mental health matters, yes. And something I learned at one of the conferences I was at, there was a guy and his wife and him got famous, and they really got more money with their business. Like, they started running ads and commercials in their local town, and their friends felt like they had changed. So what was recommended to them is, in order to keep a bond or healthy relationships, do a cookout at your house once a month, right? So they would do this cookout and they'd invite all these people over. And guess what? All their friends and family are like, oh, it's so great. It's like old times. See, what your family and friends are used to is every time they want to hang out, you hang out and they chill. But when you start getting busier and with life and with marketing and ads, all of a sudden you've changed. No, you're the same person. They are resistant to the new environment, per se. So, let me see. Penny Stock Investor, thank you for the $10 super chat. Man, Dave Ramsey defines white privilege. Does he really, though? To me, Donald, that's not true. I feel like he defines young, stupid man. Goes out, over leverages himself in real estate, goes bankrupt, and starts over. And tells people, this is what I did to start over. You should do it too. And then people did it. And he made money. I don't see the problem. Ericka, did I hear you say you're planning to move to Houston? Hell no, I ain't planning to move to Houston. Never, ever. Nah, Houston's muggy. The weather's muggy. I don't like it. I'll do business in Houston, but I ain't moving. I think Austin is my best city. I wish it was more diverse. But it's the best city I've been in. For real. Like, I am buying a condo in Atlanta, and I'm trying to buy one in Nashville. I really want to get one in Charlotte, but Charlotte is really overpriced for the city I know it to be. But I'll spend more time in those cities. But at the end of the day, this is just Airbnb. Houston's got some fun stuff, though. Jimmy Cave, everybody pulls their stuff together. Come on now. What are you talking about? Oh, sorry. I'm not going to address it. Ericka, your daily dose of reality. You're welcome. Calculating your net worth over a year, then subtracting expenses was a good exercise for me. I highly recommend it. What I tell people, the best thing you can do is print out your bank statements. They've switched everybody over to these, you can see your bank statement online, save trees. It really doesn't save trees, let's be honest. But print your statement out and take a highlighter and highlight non-essentials. Now, what are non-essentials? Lights, bill, cable, grocery bill. Everything else is non-essential. And what most people will see is the same thing as everybody else. They spend a lot on groceries and going out and movies. Same things everybody does. But if you took that extra $500 a month, and I know it's like, oh, you're making me not enjoy my life. No, I'm not saying not enjoy your life, but take that extra $500 and put it over to here or put it over to there. You would see differences. Thanks for the clarity. Thanks for the feedback. I need my own business so bad I could taste it. He's so funny. Good content. Thank you. Well, look, you guys have been fun. Thank you for the super chats. I just had to touch on that book. I'm gonna go get it. Then I'm gonna walk on the treadmill at the gym because it's kind of ridiculous outside. So it's like you don't know if it's gonna rain or not. So I don't want to start walking outside and then it does rain. Brass, I bought a whiteboard and wrote down all the non-essential essential bills that I was paying, and I was shocked to see how much money I was spending. Yeah, it'll creep up on you. Little subscriptions accounts, like I was like, oh, I'm cutting my cable bill, and then I signed up for HBO Now, then I signed up for Roku, then I signed up for Sling, and I was like, wait a minute, it's creeping up to a whole bill. What the heck? I love Dave Ramsey. Non-essentials, Taco Tuesday, Uber, Chick-fil-A. I mean, adult peer pressure. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You can still have fun. I mean, I know couples who, while they're doing the Dave Ramsey, they would have little dinners over their house. Their friends would come over, potluck, and they'd play games or they'd watch TV. People can do it all the time. You don't have to, lose friends and family. You just have to lose the mindset. You know what's funny? When Dave Ramsey says rice and beans and rice, people get so mad, but honestly, I remember I told you guys the story about the guy. I gotta find that article again, where basically he was over food stamp administration, not all the way up, but like over a region, and like they were gonna get their food stamps cut off because the government shut down, and he was like, well, they need to go buy chicken, rice, and beans, and it was funny. One, it was funny, and two, it was serious. Like, if you were on food stamps, yes, your kids should have cooks and cakeys and cereals, whatever, but mostly they should have rice and beans and chicken. And some greens. So, I laughed at it. I see some people did not find it as funny as I did. But this is what resetting that new bar of happiness is going to be. So look, for those of you, I'm finishing up the funding course later tonight. I'll have it posted sometime this week. You guys know, I'll be having a surgery later this week, and so I'll be MIA, but I have lots of great content I'm going to post up, and I have some great visitors to the channel. So you guys be nice to my visitors when they come and they do their videos, all right? But thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. There's so many good videos I have coming up. Later, you guys.